You deserve to be happy, she whispered. Rosey spread her favorite red lipstick carefully across her lips and pressed them together. She looked into her own eyes in the mirror. She was beautiful, 32, and still looked 25 on a good day. The doorbell startled her. Oh, shoot, she muttered. Her wedding ring was still on. She yanked at it. It wouldn't budge. She slipped her finger in her mouth, wet it, and tried again. The ring slid off. She placed it gently on the nightstand and left to greet her date. Dylan was kind, well-dressed, and a good listener. The conversation flowed effortlessly. It was a pleasant evening, until dessert arrived. He didn't realize the mistake he had made by ordering the crème brûlée. He had no idea that it was Rosey's late husband Max's favorite food. When he offered her the first bite, the date was over for her. The spoon held in front of her with vanilla bean custard and a shard of burnt sugar was a moment she had shared with Max many times as he tried to perfect the recipe. She returned home around 9:30. The heels came off first, then the earrings. She plopped in front of the vanity mirror. She wiped the lipstick off with a tissue and stepped into the shower. Later, hair wrapped in a towel, she sat at the mirror again. She glanced at her reflection. The red lipstick was still on. Frowning, she grabbed a tissue and wiped her mouth again. Nothing on the tissue. She looked up. There it was. The lipstick, still perfect. She remembered she had a bottle of makeup remover in the medicine cabinet, next to a bottle of Zoloft. She grabbed the makeup remover, soaked a cotton pad, and began to wipe her lips. She squinted at her reflection. There was nothing to wipe away. She tilted her head, trying to count how many glasses of wine she'd had. Her mind must have been playing tricks. As she put the bottle back, she considered taking a Zoloft, but decided against it. She perched in front of the vanity and leaned closer. When she looked up, she not only saw the stubborn red lipstick, but now her reflection had a black eye. Purple, swollen, raw. Gasping, she touched her cheek. Nothing, no pain. What the hell? She turned her head side to side, studying the bruise. Then she fumbled through her purse, pulled out a compact mirror, and checked. No lipstick, no bruise. She squeezed her eyes shut and took a deep breath through her nose, then pushed the air from her mouth like she was blowing out a candle. She repeated this 2 more times. Okay, she said in a steady voice. Rosey cleared her throat before opening her eyes. To her horror, her reflection had no left arm. Crimson bloomed across her white robe. Jesus Christ! She screamed, crashing backwards off the chair. Heart hammering, electricity racing across her skin. Shaking, she crawled back up but didn't look. I'm losing my mind, she whispered, throwing the towel over the mirror and running out of the room. In the kitchen, she poured whiskey into a mug with trembling hands. It burned her throat as it went down. By the 3rd glass, she was calmer, numb. She curled up in Max's old recliner. It seemed to hug her. Her eyelids grew heavy. The alarm dragged her back. The recliner clicked shut. Weird dream, she thought. Maybe she was punishing herself. How is it cheating if he's gone? She muttered. The clock read 6 o'clock. Still time to beat the hangover. She scraped cold butter across the burnt toast and chased it with a black coffee. Rosey worked up the courage to go back to the bedroom. She hesitated at the mirror, then tugged at the towel and let it drop. She peered at her reflection. Her eyes widened when she saw the woman looking back at her. Skin burned black, hair singed away, no left arm, a corpse staring back at her. Rosey whimpered but didn't look away. She had to understand. Tears slid down her cheeks. "This isn't real," she whispered. She covered her face. "Please, God, help me." She peeked through her fingers. The corpse leaned forward. It didn't mirror her. Face inches from the glass. Whispered in a ragged, strained voice. "Stay home." The words hung in the air like breath in the cold. Rosey screamed, grabbed the hairdryer, threw it. The mirror cracked, a jagged line splitting the corner. No, this can't be happening." She paced the kitchen, trembling. The clock read 6:30. She called the diner. "Hi, buddy. I know it's late notice. I can't come in today. I think I'm coming down with something." Pause. "Thanks. I'll make up the hours, I promise." She lay on the couch and wept, the leather cold against her face. "Max, I need you." She fell asleep. Her phone jolted her awake. She answered it with a ragged voice. "Hey, Rosey. I came by the diner and they said you called in sick. You okay?" It was Dylan. "Yeah, just feeling a little off." "Want me to bring you some soup or..." The line cut out. "Dylan? Hello?" She called him back, straight to voicemail. Boom! A muffled, distant explosion shook the air. She tried Dylan again. Nothing. She called the diner. Busy signal. A few minutes later, her phone rang. "Dylan?" It was her mom. "Rosey? Oh, thank God. Are you okay?" "Yeah, why?" "Turn on the news." She reached for the remote and turned on the TV. Breaking news. Explosion at Buddy's gas station and diner. A tanker truck carrying gasoline had plowed into the pumps. The driver had lost control. There were no survivors. She melted off the couch and fell to her knees, sobbing. Flames roared across the screen. Smoke billowed into the sky. White sheets covered charred bodies. She remembered the mirror. Rosey ran to the bedroom. Her reflection stared back at her. Alive. Whole. Then, she noticed the unmistakable scent in the room. Max's cologne.